Hey everyone. Today with the Open Hearth, we're going to be playing a game by Matteo Scuturi called The Voice in the Woods, inspired by Twin Peaks and other media in which horrible things happen to people in the woods. Because we should know better, right? Um, my name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him. I'm going to be the first protagonist. So I'll be playing Jerry, also he, him. We're setting this game in Silent Falls, which is an ongoing continuity here in the community. Um, so a lot of stuff has already occurred, and this will just be another mysterious entity living in the woods, a very crowded woods. So yeah, let's get a quick intro from our other players, and then we'll jump into the game. I guess character keeper order means Mark, you're next.
Well, that's not fair. All right. Hi, I'm Mark. He, him. I'm going to be playing Yana Holwell, um, of the Silent Falls Holwells, who have a great reputation in town.
Solid.
And I'm sorry.
Solid.
Yeah, that's who I'm playing today.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jose, and I use he, him pronouns, and I am going to be playing Zeke Briarwood from another of the key families in Silent Falls with a long history of not so good things.
Yeah, I should say my character is from the Goggins family, but no one cares about them. They're not a central family in our in our mythology. See, even when I'm playing someone, I'm in NPC mode.
It's inevitable.
Inevitable. My poor character is not going to survive. Anyway, so let me read out the intro so we're all on the same page. It's a summer night. The trees are towering around you and cast long, dark shadows. The stars look bright in the clear sky. The owls in the distance have begun their song, creating a strange harmony with the sound of the creek, while the fire around which you have gathered flickers and crackles. Like every year, you and your friends are camping out the night of August 23rd in Silent Falls, a small grove where you used to spend your childhood summers. Even if life has taken you to different places, every year you always find yourselves here. Clean air fills your lungs, along with the sweet smell of marshmallows toasting on the fire. In the small corner of the woods, you feel at peace, as if the warm summer air made everyday life anxieties slip away from your body. You are chatting pleasantly, recalling old memories and funny stories when a rattle among the branches interrupts you. It seems close, maybe an animal that smelled the food. One of you tries to act bold, waving a flashlight in their hands and making a lightsaber sound with their lips. But the noise is getting closer, and now you can all hear it. It is whispering your name. A blink of an eye, and the others are no longer there. You are alone in the heart of the woods in the middle of the night. What do you do? Or more pertinent, what do I do? So, so in this game, at least in this section of it, I'm going to be playing the protagonist. I'm going to be saying what I do, narrating whatever I'm doing and feeling. You're going to be describing what happens around me. You're going to introduce physical dangers or obstacles, and I will give life to my fears when they manifest themselves. And you're going to, be that archetypical PBTA MC and ask, "What do I do?" Every time it seems like that would be a difficult question. I don't mind how you do this. I think the game suggests like a mix of tag team and just discussing things. What hit me with next.
We need a breakout room to confer.
Well, maybe knowing what you're thinking about is going to be worse than a surprise. Um, so I guess someone has got to say the ritual words to start the game.
There you are. You are alone in the heart of the woods in the middle of the night. What do you do?
So at first, I think I don't believe that you've disappeared. Like maybe whatever bright spark had that flashlight just pointed in my eyes, and I'm kind of blinded. So I'm just shouting, Zeke, Zeke, come on, stop messing around. You've been
That
telling
sounds
us
like
horror stories about these woods for years. This was it? This was your ploy all along to just scare the shit out of me?
and it sounds almost like as if your voice as it goes out into the woods, it kind of as if you're in like a soundproof booth or something, and the sound kind of dies off immediately. There's no resonance to it, as if it's being soaked up by the woods, and no one is ever going to hear it. And the shadows just seem to get darker, even though the fire's still burning there. It's almost like the light doesn't really shine very far from the fireplace, and you see kind of the abandoned sticks with the marshmallows on them kind of melting into the fire and sizzling a little bit, and then this eerie silence.
So I think I don't sit down again at the fire. I'm not quite that blasé, but I like hunker down and grab a stick with the marshmallow, and I go, Yana, I'm eating your fucking marshmallow. See? And I like raise it up, like kind of theatrically, as if I am expecting Yana to jump out at any moment. And then I just eat it, right? I just scoff it in one go.
Do you want to tag team it, Mark? That you can take some and then I'll take some.
Yeah, I think that I'm kind of interested in how we're going to physically manifest some of these things, but I think that when you were a young teen um, with these friends, you were romantically involved with one of them in, in a young teen kind of way. Jerry, would it be Zeke or Yana, do you think?
I don't know who. I'm just looking at their. I'm not sure I can tell a huge amount
From your fears.
from their visceral fears about what kind of people they are. But I think maybe is my least favorite thing about Yana the fact that she is religious. So maybe it's Zeke.
So, you've set up camp, I think, where you tended to set up camp at that point when you would come out to the woods, or where you gathered when you were coming out to the woods. And there is a tree where you had used your clasp knife that belonged to your father to carve into the tree in a classic way a heart with an arrow through it and initials. And the initials were GG plus ZB. But when you look over at that tree, you see that it's YH plus ZB.
Okay. So and I guess it's dark, right? The flickering firelight. Maybe I just think it's a trick of the light, and because I've just eaten a roasting marshmallow.
Marshmallow.
And I go over and I'm looking closer and closer and closer at the tree, and I'm looking around because is this the right tree? Is this the same tree? And I think I take out the clasp knife, right? I just open it and I'm cutting around the heart just to see that it's making the same kind of shape cut or the same size cut. So is this just a trick to reveal some kind of new danger behind me, Mark? Is that what you're doing?
So I think that a part of this is supposed to be leading into the fear that no one will remember you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think maybe you hear like giggling or laughing deeper into the forest. And it sounds like Zeke and Yana's voices. But they seem pretty far away from the campsite.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I angrily wrench the knife out of the tree. I go, "This is not funny, guys," and I start to walk in the direction that the voices are. Right.
Mm-hmm. And I think as you're walking, did we say what time of year it is?
It's August
Middle of
23rd.
summer. Yeah.
Oh, it's summer. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I think it rains in the summer in Silent Falls. So things are wet and the trees are kind of dripping. It's not actively raining right now, but things are pretty wet because some rain came through in the previous days. And as you move towards the sound of the voices, first of all, it gets much darker. And so it's harder to see where you're putting your feet. And also the terrain starts dipping down and rather steeply. I think you slip and lose your footing on some leaves or some mud. That's what it is. And slip down, and then you've come to what almost seems like a little precipice, but you don't know how far it goes because it's all black on the other side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm dangling, or I'm merely face to face.
You're on the edge, and
Okay.
you've grabbed maybe a branch, and it's holding you just off the
Okay.
precipice.
Sounds like you want me to face danger, Jose.
Oh, is this a roll? Oh, do we do
Yeah.
rolls? Oh, I forgot that we do rolls in this game. What do I do?
So when I face danger, I say what I want to achieve and what I don't want to happen. I roll the action die. If I want, I can also roll the dread die. But in this case, I may be reawakening one of my fears, which is already, not sleeping very well. So let me roll both dice. I guess the red one is the dread die, right? Because that's how color coding works, right? I'm looking for high, but not necessarily high on the dread die, right? So let's see. Oh, that is not very high at all.
Not on either of them.
I should say I should follow exactly what I said and say what I want to achieve, which is get back away from this precipice, and what I want to avoid obviously is not fall off the precipice. So I keep the highest result. The highest result is not the dread die. On a 1, 2, or 3, the other players will describe how what you didn't want to happen becomes reality.
The dread die is the red one, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So, Jose, you were looking at being trapped somewhere here, essentially. Is that right? Or did you just happen
I was
across
thinking,
that?
well, I had a few different ideas of what might happen.
Yeah.
To that
Cue evil chuckle, huh?
He just keeps going with the evil laughter.
But you can feel free to. I think okay. So how about the branch breaks that you're holding on to, and there's a loud crack, and you slip off. And you seem to be actually sliding. You're not free falling. You're sliding on a very steep, muddy kind of. Maybe it's like a bank, although you don't know.
Like into a ravine.
And then we see you fall onto like a little ledge, and right there, as you hit it, there's a dead branch that comes like looming towards your eye, like it's going to like pop your eye out.
Okay.
Oh, I think I'm doing too many facing dangers.
Well,
Keep them coming.
this is the only loop we care about.
the only loop we care
Dangers
about.
and fears.
Dangers and fears. Okay. So, what do you do?
So this is still a danger, right? This is like
Yes, this is a new
this
danger.
branch, which is ever so swiftly approaching my face.
Your
And
eyeball.
I think, yeah. So I think like I'm putting my arms up to protect myself because I don't think I can stop myself sliding, right? So I'm gonna take a certain amount of pain to avoid the thing that I really don't want to happen.
Okay. Do you want to roll
So
for that?
I guess I'm rolling for that. Yeah. What I'm afraid of is that it will, pierce the gap between my arms and like go straight into my eye socket. Right. That's.
Perfect. Awesome.
I'm really making a rod for my own back here, and obviously, what I expect to do is like protect myself and then stop sliding. So,
Don't fail this roll.
and I'm adding the dread roll because
Yeah.
Oh wow! Well, there you go.
Okay. What does this mean? Oh no, that's good, right? Because the
That's
dread roll
good.
is a 5. Oh, but it's still not so good.
Well, no, it's a 6 because
Yeah.
It's a 6, right?
I am.
Yeah. It's not bad.
I'm not. That dread die is not the highest, unfortunately for you cruel people. So I say how I avoid the consequences. So yeah, I think like maybe it's just not as barbed and pointy and cruel as I imagined, right? I just kind of jam into it and it like scrapes my forearms and I use that to stop me, in fact, from going any further. And I think I can hear I stand up and I can kind of, maybe there's a little bit of moonlight, maybe I can kind of see, or momentary moonlight, where I can see the ledge I'm on and I can see like a way that I can try to get back up to the campsite. So I guess that's what I'll do.
Okay.
I'll stick close to the ravine wall or whatever it is and pick my way back in that general direction.
Yeah, what could go wrong? That's the
What
thing.
could go wrong?
Mark,
I think at
you
this
wanna go?
point, yeah, I think at this point you hear. So you've driven out in Zeke's Jeep. Zeke's Jeep has this particular kind of cough when it starts up. You really have to crank it, and then it coughs when the engine catches. And as you're making your way through this ravine, you hear that familiar cranking of the Jeep and the coughing start of the engine. And then you hear that engine begin to fade with distance as you're trying to make your way out of the ravine, almost as if no one remembers that you're out here with them.
Yeah, so like do I have a good enough grasp of the geography? We've been coming here for years, right? So do I
Yeah.
know of like on foot a shortcut that would get me to the road before they would. Right?
Absolutely. Yep.
And they're only messing with me anyway. It's not like they're really driving away on me.
No.
Right?
It's all good.
So yeah, I'm gonna ignore the dangerous fall I just had, right? And make my way as quickly as is unreasonably possible to intercept these so-called friends of mine.
Okay. So is this facing a danger here as well?
Obviously, everything is danger.
Yeah, yeah. Are you going to risk that dread die this time?
Obviously, because we need to get to fears, right? We all want to get to fears. Oh, it's a 4, or it's a 4. I mean, it says if you include the dread die in your roll, and it is your highest die.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm inclined to say a draw. It's obviously amongst the highest die.
You just want to get there. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. So, but I avoid the consequences. So I'm not like falling down this ravine as I make my way down. So yeah, I think I'm running, and I get to the road, and I don't see the lights. I mean, I look behind me like if they had passed me. I don't see taillights either, so I must have gotten here well before them, right? That's what I'm thinking. But I guess the forest will sense my presence, looking inside you for your fears, and then one of you is going to, choose one of my fears without saying its name to manifest it, to face me.
I think as you're looking at this road, which you were so sure was the road that they would go out on, it really is the only road, right?
Yeah.
You know this place. You see that it branches off just a little ways up above, as if there were another way they could have gone. But you had no memory of that road ever being there. And you're absolutely sure that there are no turnoffs on this road. But suddenly it's there.
Yeah.
And as you're looking at it, everything suddenly feels unfamiliar. Like you don't know what you thought you knew this road, and now it looks like a road that you've never seen before. And there's some feeling of confusion in your head and a sense of disorientation. Like, where the fuck are you? You're completely lost, even though you've been up in this area 1,000 times before.
Yeah, and I think the first time I remember this feeling, like I think the genesis of this fear for me is when I was younger. Maybe it goes back to like the first camping trip I ever had up here, like when I was a kid. I remember like coming out of the tent in the middle of the night because I heard the fire crackling, and I saw this huge gout of flame, like this wooden stake with someone tied to it right in front of my eyes. And I like turned back into the tent and like put on my then reliable flashlight to wake my father. And when we turned back around to the tent entrance, it's just the flickering fire again, just that campfire. But like, I felt the heat, I heard the screams, I smelt the burning flesh, And it was like, I was crazy. It was the first time I felt crazy in these woods.
And you realize as you turn around that you don't know where the campsite is anymore. Not just the fact that you don't know which direction it's in, but you don't even remember what it's about, like what it looked like or how you got there. There's something unreliable about uh, your memory. There's some sense of doubt, like undermining it all. Um, you wouldn't know how to get back to, there was a campsite, but you're having trouble remembering um, uh, where it was or how you left it. And so you're on this road, and there's a fork up above. No sign of the car. No sign of Zeke and Yana. What do you do?
Well, I'm gonna face my fear, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I need to do some
Is
mechanics
that a
here.
thing that we can do?
Yeah. So, when you face your fear, say where it comes from and when you first experienced it. I've done that.
Right,
Then
you just
roll
did
a
that.
dread die for each fear you have already confronted. So this is, I guess, just one.
Haven't you confronted two? I thought you rolled a couple of times.
Oh, we did the I one, right?
Yeah, but not mechanically. I haven't faced that fear mechanically. It
Oh,
was
I
just
keep
hinted at, right?
Okay.
Um,
So just one.
just one, and I'm looking for a 6.
Good luck, son.
Good luck. A 2. Okay, not a 6. So when a fear is taking over, you are trying to resist the urge to escape. And then I can choose one of these actions to resolve it. And I think I am walking back up this road to this fork, which I have no memory of, and I'm there's a part of my brain saying just keep walking up the actual road and you will get to the campsite. That's how it goes.
Right.
You get to the parking lot, sorry. you walk for 200 yards straight up the trail and it's there, right? That's where it always is. But my feet are leading me down to that trail that I've never seen before. And there's a part of me that says, if you walk it again, you'll remember. And I'm going to take out that flashlight, and it's like one of these kids' flashlights from the 70s or whatever. Maybe it's a bike light or something like that I just repurposed as a flashlight. I take it off and I shake it and I turn it on, and I'm like resisting that fear by walking down that strange road that I don't remember. I'm just trying to spark a memory because it exists, right?
But because of the roll, we know that their fear is taking over. Is that correct?
So I choose one of these actions: embrace my fear, I escape from the woods, or I resist my fear. So I'm resisting. So
resisting your fear. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So mechanically, this fear is now off the list. We're now going to continue the journey, and another fear will come on. Not to say that I'm not afraid and I'm not still distrusting my memories, but I am kind of resisting that fear.
And you use the knife. Okay.
I use the knife.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, no, I use the dodgy flashlight.
Oh, the flashlight, right? Yeah. The dodgy flashlight.
That's what I get for trying to double multitask.
Okay.
Okay. So I think it's a good time to take a break. We've just hit the hour. Okay. So we are back. So I guess we last saw Jerry foolishly, wisely facing his fears by tromping down this strange road, which he's sure he hasn't seen before. But yeah, here we go.
Do you want to do this one next? You want to go next, Mark? Or I can't remember which was.
I can't remember where we were either. It's fine. So just introducing another danger here, right?
Or whatever.
So you had been tromping down the road, and I think that at this point, I always say I think. So at this point, Jerry begins to hear some more rustling in the woods off to the side, and what sounds like the beginning of a low growl and scratching. And it's moving closer to you as you're moving down this road with your dodgy flashlight. And when you flick it over there to see what it was, the flashlight, of course, needs to be struck to get the batteries to work. And then you look again and you're not sure what it might have been. What's there?
And I think we've established Jerry talks to himself when he's nervous. I mean, I heard a growl, and that's just nature's mountain lion telling you to turn the fuck back because you're on the wrong track. So yeah, I mean, I'm not proud. I say to myself loudly, and I think I turn tail and start walking back up the road. I mean, you shouldn't turn your back on the predator, I know, but facing my danger might just be not facing my danger.
You should definitely run from a predator.
Yeah, that's how you get away, right?
Calm down. Yes, exactly.
You know what they say? You don't have to run faster than the predator, only faster than your friends. But for that to work, you need your friends.
Friends to be here.
Those assholes.
You need some friends.
I can't believe they drove off on you.
Yeah. So am I running, Mark? Is that what you're telling me? I'm facing my danger and I need to run? Probably,
because this the sounds of this predator moving through the trees is growing louder as you're moving along.
Yeah. Well, I do not. I want to get away. I want to get back on the main road, the road that actually exists, not this horrible nightmare road with the mountain lion. And I want to avoid getting caught. I'm not going to say being eaten already, because that's just an escalation I'm not willing to take right now.
No,
I've learned. So let me roll all the dice I have. Okay.
Man, you're getting lucky with that dread die.
I am. It's one lower than my action die again. So on a 4, 5, or 6, I avoid the consequences. Say how. So do I hear this mountain lion or growling thing emerge, and I just run like the clappers? I keep running. I'm going full Forrest Gump.
Yeah, that makes sense. You obviously avoid it, and you said how you just outrun the predator that lives in the forest and is very good at hunting and eating things alive.
The clappers are the thing inside a bell that rings.
Sure, okay.
I am escalating in our idiomatic English.
Yeah,
yeah.
I love it.
You're forcing me to say parking lot.
You've always got a new one, so
that was valiant of you.
Yeah.
But I think when you make it up to where the main road should be, you find that you've come to a full crossroads now. And it doesn't look like the main road anymore. So it's the road that you're on and, across. And then down the road to the right goes down and you can just barely see like a reddish light down there, but it's kind of blinking on and off.
Okay, well, Zeke's car is obviously a piece of shit, right? So I don't know what's wrong with his taillights, but we should get that fixed. So I'm definitely going in that direction, right? Because that's got to be it.
And as you go down that road a bit, you stop hearing the sound of the growling sound behind you. It seems like you've given it the slip. But you see the Jeep, and the Jeep has struck a tree.
Okay. Shit.
And you know, there's a hiss from the radiator emitting, you know, water vapor, and it's just the taillights that are blinking, and that's the only light in that area. What do you do?
I'm gonna run up to it and see if the people who are inside it, who must be inside it, are okay, right?
Wait, let me check my alliance and fails for 1 second.
Well, I'm checking that Zeke is okay. Yana, you know, I'm not sure why she comes along on these cabin trips.
Well, she gets whatever she deserves.
The Hallwells, they're more trouble than they're worth, right?
They're always more trouble than they're worth. But the prior words can come in handy sometimes. I think when you come up to the driver's side, you can see that Zeke is in the driver's side, but you can see that the windshield has been shattered. But it's dark and you can't really see what's in the car, or anything other than you see the figure of Zeke and
Okay.
not moving.
I mean, I open the door, right? Maybe the light will come on, the cabin light. I mean,
The cabin light, yes.
who
Yes,
knows?
it does. Right when you open the door, the cabin light does come on.
Okay.
And you see kind of a grisly scene of, sure enough, this tree, one of the low-lying branches, has taken Zeke's eye out. In his eye, you know, and
But-
Zeke.
But like, is it a branch that's gone through his skull and just happens
Yes.
to have?
That's the one.
Okay, so it's like
That's the one.
he's lost his eye, but also his brain.
He's
Yeah.
lost his brain as well. Yes.
You buried the lead.
And no
there.
sign of Yana anywhere. But the other side, the passenger side door is open.
Okay.
What do you do?
I'm freaking out. I'm like, there's obviously nothing I can do, but I'm just freaking out.
Okay. Freaking out happens.
Freaking out happens. Yes, finally, success.
Success. So the face fear, because I'm trying to work with the losing of the eyes still, but it's not your eyes now. It's Zeke's eyes.
I mean, did you? But it sounds like you want to hit me with a danger first, right? Before I need to face that fear.
Oh, right. Oh, so I have to hit you with a danger first.
Yeah.
So really, I've just spoken to the fear right now, but I'd have to put a danger in. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to get the hang of this. Do you have any ideas, Mark?
I wonder if Jerry notices now that dripping sound that he hears in the background isn't the rain, which has stopped, but is the gasoline leaking, the petrol leaking from the tank,
Right.
and the smoking that is coming from the engine as the tank begins to ignite,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to explode in front of you in just a moment.
Dangerous.
That does sound dangerous. So I should probably try to get away, right? I should definitely. There's no way that I can possibly like free Zeke's body. So I'm just gonna.
I mean, why would you?
Harsh. Very harsh.
That's harsh. Oh, well, man.
It's no shade on Zeke, but you've seen the tree limb driven through his skull. Hey, buddy, I'm going to get you, buddy. You're going to be okay.
Hold on,
I've
buddy.
got
We're gonna get you
I've
some
got a
help.
band-aid here somewhere. Yeah, I guess I'm running for my dear life because I hear gas explosions are dangerous. You know, um, Mark, obviously I know what gasoline is because I've seen The
I
Crow, and is that
yes.
gasoline I smell is like one of the greatest lines in all cinematic history. So yeah, I'm running. I'm running to get out of this hellhole before I get exploded. So I guess I'm rolling dice, and obviously I'm gonna roll that
Hell yeah.
dread die.
Oh my God.
No, no,
You're so
Why?
lucky.
I am so lucky. Do we
I
need to make the
just
dread die a different color? Is that what you think?
I don't know. Obviously, something's going
So
on
then
with
you
roll for
describe,
your
you narrate how
party.
you get away, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I think
So we should have an explosion.
we have to have an explosion. Yeah. I think yeah, I like dive for cover because I don't know how much it's going to be, and I like end up in this mossy, sodden bank on the road, and there's like nothing happens for a moment, and then the explosion happens, right? And uh, I think it's spectacular Hollywood explosion, right? Like
Yeah.
flaming bits of car land in the forests alongside the road. I think probably a body lands right beside me. Right,
The body.
the body. Okay, the body. And I think there's this great big gaping hole where the log, the big branch, just got ripped out by the explosion. So it's like half a face staring at me.
But the unexpected part here is a new incoming danger
Okay.
because the tree at the base of the tree has been destroyed by this car explosion, and that tree is coming your direction. It's rapidly falling towards you. And you know if you don't get out of the way, if it doesn't kill you, it's going to trap you underneath it.
Okay. Okay. Well, I do not want to be hit by that tree. And I guess I should get out of. I guess maybe I should continue down this road because roads are the way out of this shithole, right? What every local in Silent Falls says.
Wow, that's profound. I got to keep that one.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. A red 5. Are we happy?
Oh, it
Oh,
happened.
excellent. So you still avoid the consequences.
Yeah, so I think I like scrabble away from this tree and end up on the road, and then
But you could survive the tree fall and still be
yeah.
trapped.
So I think the facing the fear, right, is that I think the log like comes straight down on Zeke's body, right?
Uh,
And I'm like looking from yards away at like what could have been me, right?
right.
And I think that half face is still looking at me. Maybe there's a bit more squish in it, but it's still looking at me. See, Zeke could never take his eyes off me. That's what
So I think that it's safe to say that that Jose and I will probably choose being, I'm sorry, without saying the name of the fear, being unable to free your legs from underneath this tree. So then you would have to face this fear.
yeah. So, I mean, maybe am I just like looking at this fate I just escaped and like frozen with that fear, like unable to move because um, I'm just caught
Yeah.
thinking back to this kind of traumatic event, right? Um, so what is the first time I thought of this? I think I think maybe we were when I was again, maybe when I'm a little bit older, maybe a young teenager, I'm at the beach, which obviously is dangerous. and my older brother got it into his head to bury me in the sand because that's a fun thing that you do at the beach, right? But not when the riptides are coming in and threatening to drown you, and he's gone off to get an ice cream or something like that, right? Yeah, and I mean, the water was lapping around my kind of neck, chest area where I was poking out of the sand. But I mean, I was a goner. I wasn't being able to struggle or dig my way out of it. There was no sign of my brother, and then like one of the old cross lady, the family who live overlooking the beach, the crosses, just grabbed me out like at the last moment. And that's why I've never gone back to the beach. That's why it's preferable to go camping in the woods when you're on your summer break. So let me roll 2 dice, 2 red dice, and let's see what we get. Not a 6, not a 6.
Okay. Here is taking over for the mechanics.
Yeah, so I'm gonna. Yeah, and I'm just like scrabbling away on the road, like I don't know what state my forearms and palms are in and I'm like backing away from this grisly sight, from this tree, trying to make sure I'm nowhere near a tree that could land on me. And I wonder if it's time to escape the woods and to see how one of our other people get on.
Sure. How does the mechanic work for escape the woods? Is there a mechanic, or
I just choose that option
you just choose
and I
that
escape the
option?
woods.
Yeah. What's that look like if you escape the woods?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I think like I come to a clearing, there's no trees around, and I've like basically crawled backwards for a quarter of a mile or a half a mile or something insane. And then I get up and I just walk back into town. And I see the lights of the whatever it is closest to the mountains.
There is a
I
lighthouse.
Yeah, maybe I see the sawmill or the old barn first before I get back into town proper. Right. Nothing bad ever happens there.
No.
And you lost your smugness and your
Oh yeah.
you know,
Oh
everything
damn
was
sure.
going.
Yeah.
You're looking kind of bloodied and terrified,
Yeah. Yeah. All of the above.
singed here and there,
Okay.
or some embers fell on you,
Yeah.
burns
Yeah.
on your arms. Yeah. Okay.
Is there anything else I should add? No, that's it. I escape from the woods. I guess I talk about how this manifestation is causing frightful feelings to grow within you. So yeah, I just want to get away from these woods. It's these woods and the trees that are the problem. I've forgotten these flaky friends, but
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's where we leave Jerry. Okay, so we move on to another protagonist, right?
Yeah. What's your preference, Mark? I can go either way.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did all of the advanced work, so I feel like we kind of
You want to do
you
it
should
to
have
me?
an opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah, to be the victim.
I can be the victim.
So Yana basically doesn't appear in this.
She doesn't.
Only indirectly.
In
Only
flashbacks,
indirectly.
maybe. Yeah.
Flashbacks, and in well, yeah, depending on how much time we get.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we go back to the start. Zeke,
Right.
you are alone in the heart of the woods in the middle of the night. What do you do?
So I think Zeke was sitting on like a stump next to the fire, and he was roasting a marshmallow. And we heard a sound, right? That's what it was first. Remind me, it was a sound or it was
Yeah, so we heard this rattling sound amongst the
rattling sound.
branches. And then it got closer, and then it was whispering your name.
Your name.
And then
Then
we
it
were
was,
gone.
and then you were gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, Zeke has been very focused on not burning his marshmallow, but then so he was ignoring the sound, but then when it called his name, he looks up and he looks around and his friends are gone. And it's like, guys, where? And he turns around and looks into the darkness and he's still got the marshmallow on the stick. And guys, this isn't funny, man. Where the hell did you go? You were sitting here a second ago. And he's looking all around and he starts pacing around the area of the fire and looking around. And but there's something kind of desperate around the way he's looking. He's feeling spooked already because they were right there and then they were gone. And I think he starts making wider and wider circles and he starts calling to his friends. Jerry, Yana, are you okay? Where are you? And he's just standing there staring into the darkness outside of the circle of the fire. And you can see kind of a sheen of sweat breaking out on his brow as he's looking out. And he's dropped his marshmallow now. Yeah, what happens now?
Do you want to take this, Mark, or will I give a first run?
Sure, go ahead. You haven't had an opportunity yet.
I'm not getting in the car, that's for sure.
There's no response, but I think you hear your voice kind of echo in the distance, and slowly this fog or mist starts rolling in up the hill towards you. And it's swiftly approaching, like fast. You've heard stories, but you've never seen anything as fast as this.
I think we see kind of Zeke like beginning to back up away from the fog that's coming up. Um, uh, and maybe he will run towards the car, thinking that maybe that would be a safe place to be in. I'm crazy to be going towards the car.
I mean,
What am I thinking?
you stuck to your guns there for at least 20 seconds.
No car, no car, car.
Car.
The old Jeep. The old Jeep.
I wonder if
I start-
running through the forest in a heavy fog is danger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
feels dangerous.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, because I think the fog is quickly overtaken before he even gets near the car, and he's looking over his shoulder at it and kind of stumbling a
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
So you say what you want to achieve, and then say what you want to try to avoid, what you don't want to happen.
I think I don't want to fall and break my neck. And what I want to achieve, well, of course, would be to find my friends, but That's not the right one. Maybe it's just proximal to like make it to the car and feel some sense of protection or some sense of containment in the car.
Yeah.
So then I go to
So in
the
the dice room,
yes.
you can roll the blue die for sure, and if you want to, roll the red die as your dread die.
All right.
So you just click on both, and then at the top there's a green button, reroll selected.
And the reason I would roll the red die is because if I get a high score on that one, it helps me avoid the consequences, right?
Yeah, so on a
Something bad happens.
yeah, so on a 4+ on any of the dice you roll, you avoid the consequences.
Okay.
And if your highest die is the dread die, then you still, if it's 4+, you still avoid the consequences, but you're facing a fear.
Right. Okay. Oh, I didn't avoid those consequences.
Yeah.
But the red one is not higher than the blue two, so you are not facing a fear. But you are
not facing a fear, but okay.
Mark, do you want to run with that consequence?
Yeah, so specifically, he said that the thing that he wanted to avoid was falling and breaking his neck.
That
Obviously,
is
we're not going to
unfortunate.
break your neck. However, I think that, so you do fall, and this fog kind of sweeps over you, and this entire area now is covered in this low fog, and you are at the moment unable to find your way around. It's actually, you find that when this fog is here, it's a little bit harder to breathe, and you find yourself gasping for breath. Donna, anything you want to?
No, it sounds like Zeke should really try to keep breathing. Sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, breathing would be a good thing.
Yeah.
So, should I respond?
So yeah, when you face danger, you I guess Mark, you should say what do you do after you?
Yeah.
What do you do?
What do you do?
Can I have do I only have the items that I've listed, or
those are the only
mechanical effect? I only have the items.
But you could have other things.
But for narrative effect, I could have anything, right?
You could still have that marshmallow, right?
I could have the marshmallow. Well, we see him heaving and hoeing. I think he's got like an inhaler on his jacket because I think he suffers from asthma. And as he gets more anxious, he pulls out the inhaler and he tries to take a swig on that to see if he can calm his lungs down a bit. So I guess that would be a way of facing a danger. Is that a facing a danger? Yeah.
Yeah. So roll the dice.
Again?
Yeah.
He says.
What the heck?
Oh no, I got a 6 on the bad one.
Oh no. So you can describe how you overcome the danger, right? Modern medicine at its finest.
Modern medicine at its finest. Yeah, I think he takes a swig off the inhaler, and you just see him begin to breathe a little more easily. He's sitting on the ground though still, and maybe his ankle hurts where he kind of twisted it a bit falling, but he's breathing a little bit easier, and he's looking around and is disoriented. He doesn't know where his friends are, but he also doesn't know which way to go now because the fog is still very intense. And he started saying to himself, "Okay, just stay calm, Zeke. You'll figure this out. You'll find them. They're here someplace. They're here someplace." Jerry! God damn it! Where the fuck are you?
I've got a fear I want to hit, Mark, unless you
Yeah.
have a compelling...
No, go for it.
Okay. You look around, and then I think you like lean over to pick up your inhaler that you dropped, and you are about to put the cap back on, and you look, and in the I guess the mouthpiece, you can see things inside, like you can see like tiny eggs or something like that. And I guess the prospect that these were in the inhaler
When I
strikes
took
you.
my deep whiff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So-
he tosses the inhaler away, and he starts coughing and retching and trying to get whatever might be in him out of him. And he's panicking a bit, and maybe bordering on another asthma attack.
Yeah. So you should. So when you face the fear, say where it comes from and when you first experienced it, and then you can roll one dread die to overcome it.
So I think oh wait, are we in the 80s now? So we don't have YouTube, okay? No.
That's
How did we survive?
You heard about your
How did we
uncle.
survive? How did we learn things? How did we find new things to be scared of?
But you know, VCR tapes being swapped
Faces of
around,
death.
video nasties.
Yeah, I think you see the three friends, or in a movie theater, watching the first Alien movie. Where the alien like puts the egg inside of that character, and his stomach explodes, and you can just see a younger version of Zeke, like crouching in his chair, like this, and putting his hands over his eyes, and Yana's there, and she's pulling his hands. Hey, look! Did you see him explode? Hey, look! Look, Zeke! That could be you.
Yana.
She's just that way, I guess.
She's just that way. She had to come up in a flashback anyways. So I'm supposed to. So first time I experienced the fear of eggs being in bodies.
Yeah. I guess bodily invasion, right? That works.
Bodily invasion, yes.
Yeah. So roll one dread die, and you're looking. I mean, you're looking for 6, obviously. Yeah, you just rolled a 6 on a dread die, so.
Great.
You could do it again.
I did a 5.
Okay. So the fear is taking over.
Okay.
You're trying to resist the urge to escape. So you talk about how the manifestation is causing frightful feelings to grow within you. And then you choose one of those 3 options: embrace your fear, escape, or resist your fear by clutching one of the items you carry with you.
Mm-hmm. I guess the fear is taking over. Talk about how its manifestation is causing frightful feelings to grow within.
It's
So I
funny
think
that
Go
the
ahead.
phrasing is to grow within you under the circumstances.
Unfortunate.
Oh.
I think you see Zeke coughing, and he coughs something up and looks at like this bit of spittle. It's kind of bloody, kind of spittle like on the ground, and there's like a little worm. Uh, uh, um, uh, yeah, like a little blue, uh, pale worm that's obviously just hatched from an egg in the ground, and he's losing it completely. It's growing in him. Um, and how do I resist my fear by clutching to one of the items I carry with me? Let's try that. I think maybe I'm wearing my brother Simon's hoodie, and I think my brother Simon was always uh, we shared a room when we were kids, and when I would have nightmares, he would come and share the bed with me and calm me down from nightmares. And so the hoodie reminds me of him and that feeling of calm that I used to feel when he was sleeping with me. Uh, so I'll mark that item, and and then he's just telling himself, "It's probably nothing. That was probably the only egg. I caught it out. I got it out. Um, I'm probably fine. I'm probably fine." And he's trying to talk himself down.
So where to next? Are you gonna continue to make your way to the car or do something different?
Well, now I don't know where the car is, right? Because the fog is
Fog.
still in, right? Um, uh, so I think he stands up. He doesn't go looking for the inhaler because that thing's gross. Um, and I think he just starts wandering out because he doesn't know. Maybe he is still looking for the car, um, uh, but the car was to try to protect him from, uh, I don't know, the fog. The fog's here. Um, I think he's going to start wandering out into the fog because there's no other choice. Either stay put or wander out. And so he's going to start wandering out. And you can see him kind of groping with his hands because it's so thick, he might even run into a tree or something. It's gotten so thick. Um, and there's all this water vapor in the air. And so it's almost like he's getting all wet. And his hair's all damp, and there's all this water condensation on him. Um, uh, and he's still struggling to breathe a little bit in it, even after everything. Well, maybe because of after everything. And so he's wheezing a bit. And he stopped calling out to Yana and Jerry, and he's just trying to quiet down and search physically for them, grope through the darkness for them.
Should I throw out a
Mark,
fear
you go
or a
first. You
danger?
gotta.
What could
Okay.
go wrong groping in the darkness? Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So I think that you I think that as Zeke is groping in the darkness, you you trip just a little bit and you fall on your hands to try to right yourself. The ground here is muddy, and your hand sinks down a little bit. And at some point, when your hand is sunk down a little bit, you feel something grasp your wrist where your hand has fallen in. And I think that in just automatically, you try to pull the hand back. And as you do, you see that as you're pulling it out, it is the wrist or the hand of a person that has grasped you around the wrist. And as you pull back, they won't let go, and you're pulling somebody out of the ground here. And as they emerge from the as they emerge from the ground, they take a gasping breath as if they haven't been able to breathe this whole time. And you continue to pull them out, and you recognize it is Yana. It's her in her clothing. She's covered in mud, and you pull her all the way out, and she finally looks up at you, and where her eyes should be, it is just a boiling mess of maggots that are falling down her face. And she says, Zeke, you rescued me. What do you do?
So I think when Zeke is first pulling on the arm, and he recognizes Yana's clothing, he starts saying, "Yana, oh my God, it's you!" And he's pulling her out, but it's once she's maybe like halfway out that he sees her face, and but she's still holding on to his arm, right? She won't let go. She has like a death grip on his
Right.
arm,
Yeah.
right? I think instinctively he like falls back on his ass and kicks at her to try to get away from her, and to break her grip on his hand. So he's trying to escape the clutches of zombie Yana.
So that sounds like a
and scramble
Or
backwards.
Yana to her friends, right?
yes.
Yana to her friends.
This is just the way she is.
Or maggot-ridden Yana to her friends.
That sounds like facing a danger. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I roll 2? Or
Well, you roll one
One or
blue,
two.
and if you choose the red one,
The
too.
red one as well. Yeah.
all right, why don't I try rolling 1 blue, because no one's done that yet, just
What?
to see what happens.
Craziness.
Is that no fun? Okay, I'll roll them both.
No, you,
I'll roll
you,
them
could,
both.
you
I'll
could
roll
do
them
it.
you
both.
I'll
want.
say.
I don't want any hecklers.
It's too
I
late.
won't.
Donna's here.
But I'm gonna put it on the other side because I don't like the way it is. It's gonna be on this side.
Get away from me, dread die.
Get away from me. Oh, 2 2s.
Oof.
What does that mean? That means I do not break Yana's grip.
Had we established, or was that a rule for Donna only, that a tie means the fear manifests? In which case, you've rolled the worst roll possible.
The worst
where
roll
I think-
possible.
You do not avoid the consequences, and or is it dealer's choice? Is it?
Yeah. Well, first we should say, I guess, what happens, and then Jose can make a decision about whether or not they want to count that as their highest die.
Right. Okay.
So what you didn't want to happen becomes a reality.
I was trying to get away from
Yeah.
Yana, and so clearly I did not.
Right.
Is it something like Yana smiles and you see these grubby teeth literally in her maw, and then she starts to pull you down into the hole that she came out of?
Or also, when I go to kick her, my foot goes through her belly, but then maggots swarm out of her belly and cover my foot as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that.
That's the icing right there.
And I
Well
think
done.
she says something like, "Yummy, yummy in my tummy."
Yummy.
Oh man. Now it's really an 80s zombie movie.
Not really a taste.
Oh my god.
He lets out a high-pitched scream. Now, what am I deciding whether it gets worse than this?
Whether you want to face this fear or now or later, you know.
So we're going to choose one of your fears. Yeah, probably
Yeah.
this one would make sense. but-
So Mark, you know what you were going for there. You should make it more manifest now.
Well, I mean, are you
It's
going
pretty
to face your fear?
manifest, but
Sure, let me face my fear.
Okay, if you're facing your fear, then yeah, I think that as Donna suggested, Yana is pulling you down into the ground to be buried in this murky,
pit.
muddy dirt that is boiling with maggots. That's a
That
twofer.
sounds like wasted. That's more than one of my fears.
It
I should
is,
get a
yeah.
twofer
We're
here.
we're short on time. We got to get all the fears in.
Well, we're
We've
not
got
saying its
decomposing rotting
name.
flesh.
We're letting you choose which of those fears you're going to overcome, right?
So, with that in mind, then you say where that fear comes from and when you first experienced it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So, and I'm saying it could be the maggots or it could be the buried alive one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, let's see.
Why not? But
I think there's a memory from when he was a kid, younger, like maybe a teenager, preteen kind of, and he saw his dog Blackie, who was just, a pup at that point, in the backyard playing with something. And he ran out to see what it was, and it was a possum that a dead possum that the dog was like throwing up into the air, and he throws it up into the air, and it hit Zeke in the face, and a bunch of maggots, fell out. And Zeke screamed and ran back to the house.
We all screamed.
We all screamed when the dead possum hit us in the dead decomposing possum hit us in the face.
I mean, I know exactly what you've done, Jose. You're making Mark regret his choices.
So that was the first time I experienced fear of decomposing flesh and maggots.
yes.
Or
That
yeah. And what was the
Okay,
other part of the question?
so yeah, you're resisting your fear, right? By clutching one of your beloved items, right?
Oh, my beloved items.
It sounds like if you're, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're escaping or embracing your fear. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll resist it. I think I'll use Blackie's leash. I just remember later on that Blackie was a great dog. He is a great dog. He's old now, but he is a great dog, and he's always watched out for me. And even if he did gross shit, somehow he was there for me. Even if he threw dead possums into the air. And so just the memory of Blackie. I left him back at home because he's too old to go camping now. Um, uh, uh, and I'm clutching the leash it's in my pocket. I keep it as I just happen to have it in my pocket.
for what it's worth, did we roll the number of dread die for the fears that we've already faced here before we made that decision?
Oh, sorry, we didn't.
We skipped a
Jose,
point. Okay, what am I
we
supposed
did
to
skip
do?
that. You should roll 2 dice.
Two red dice.
2 red dice. Yeah.
And
Thanks,
what
Mark.
horrible things are happening?
Glad
to me in my
someone. I'm glad someone knows the rules to this thing.
That's all I'm holding on to. Yeah,
It's a
so roll
4 and
two,
a
keep
2.
the highest. Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so
fear is taking over.
Yeah, I think the way
Yeah.
Jose described this now
Perfect.
works perfectly by resisting the fear. Okay, and we're gonna mark that maggots fear, right?
Oh,
As
the
being
maggot
one
sphere.
you've
Right.
overcome. Okay.
Why did I do that? There it is.
Okay.
Maggots.
I think it's a
Okay,
good time to
rotten
take a
flesh.
break. We need to, wash out our mouths, our eyes, and everything else about it after that. So, yeah. I guess the question for Zeke is, now that you have resisted your fear, do you think you're more able to like get out of this hole that you're being dragged into, or is this like a figment of your imagination? How do you get out and continue your escape?
So my foot had gone through Yana's belly, and the maggots were climbing up, and she still had me by the hand. Zeke is actually, he's clumsy, but he's actually a pretty big, strong guy. And I think he yanks so hard on Yana's hand that it comes off. Um, and and backs up and somehow struggles free of her, and she's still waist deep in the earth, right? Um, uh, and So now she's groping, and the maggots are spilling out of her and stuff, and he's backing up crab style, and turns around to try to run into the fog, not caring which way he runs as long as he gets away from zombie Yana. Um, uh, so I think he starts running. And the hand is still gripping his hand, even though it's not on Yana anymore. And he keeps shaking it, like trying to get it off of him, but it won't let go.
I mean, I think my brain is going to Evil Dead. You know, there's a hand roaming around.
So maybe he does fling off the hand as he's running.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to get all the maggots off of him. So he's running, stopping, swiping at his clothing, and running on. And now he's completely lost in the forest.
Yeah, and I think maybe you end up stopping to get your bearings because you know you're not panicked. I don't get the feeling that you think you're panicked, right?
No, I'm scared, but I'm not in full panic
Yeah.
mode.
Not yet.
Not yet.
And as you kind of turn around in this clearing to gain your bearings, you notice the underfoot. There is this. No, I guess it's waterlogged in here. You're in like. I guess your soles are underneath this water or very liquidy mud, and you know as you step away, you feel the suction. This mud is thicker and more nasty than you'd given it credit for. It looks like it's a pool of water, but really it's just a pit to trap creatures. What do you do?
I think so he's beginning to sink in the bog, kind of. And there's like a heavy like smell of decomposing plant matter around, and he's still trying to catch his breath because he's out of breath from running, and then the fight with Yana, and also of course the asthma attack that came on and didn't come on. I think there's some trees around, and I think he's trying to grab at some of the roots of the trees to see if he can pull himself out back the way he came. And we hear this loud sucking sound of the mud as he strains to pull himself out by the roots of the tree.
Sounds
Am I
like.
facing a fear?
I think you're just facing the danger right now.
Oh, facing a danger.
Yeah,
Facing
yeah.
a danger.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So is that? But that is a die roll, right?
That is a die
Yeah.
roll. So an action die for sure, and maybe a dread die if you want.
Sure, let's do it. Since that seems to be what we do here. Oh, I got a 6. I finally got something good. It's the best roll
So,
possible, right?
Best roll possible, as far away from that fear as you could possibly get.
how do you avoid the consequences then? Sounds like you had already started it.
Right. So I think we're hearing the sucking sound, and he's straining as he pulls on the roots with his arms. And I think yeah, his legs finally come out with a pop. Um, and it's almost like you can feel or there's like this quality in the mud as if it's like shaking its fist in the air, like damn you for getting away. Um, uh, and he scrambles up to somewhat drier ground, back behind the tree that he pulled himself up on, and now he's covered from waist down in mud, and maybe that's smothered any remaining maggots that were on him, um, and then he turns around and he starts walking again, trying to stay to drier ground and get away from the bog and the water. And
I might interrupt you before you get too far
okay.
because you realize now you're in your socks.
Oh, my
You
boots are
you
gone.
look down and your boots are sticking out of the mud.
Oh no, my
Uh,
trusty boots. Those were one of my items.
Whoa.
I'll have to keep the memory of them.
do you want to go get them?
Oh, they are my favorite boots. Yeah. Yeah, sure. He'll go back and try to get the boots. So I think he takes Blackie's leash. Or yeah, what's he gonna do to try to get the boots back? Um, uh, yeah, so he sees the boots and they're kind of in the mud, and sinking. And he's going to try to lay on his belly, reach out with the leash to try to clip it onto the laces of the boots so that he can drag the boots out.
That's well thought out.
That is.
Well, the leash is right there in his hand.
What don't you want to happen is the real question here.
Oh, well, I don't want to lose the boots, God knows. Uh, those are my favorite hiking boots. And they have a lot of sentimental value. Um, uh, I've had
But
them
you're
for
being
years.
careful because I mean, in getting the boots, you're being careful because what are you concerned might happen if you're not careful?
I might fall head first into the mud all over again.
Okay. Were you looking at facing another danger here, Donna, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, does that mean another roll?
So let's hit another roll for you.
All right. Okay, so that did not go well. Well, I mean, I got a 4.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So you're avoiding the consequences, but you are gonna face a fear. Why don't you say how you avoid the consequences and get your boots back, right?
I think the technique works. It allows him to clip onto the boots and then be on dry enough ground to get some purchase, so that he can reel them in like a fisherman, um, and um, and so we see him right at the base of that tree, kind of hitting his boots down on the roots, trying to get the mud off of them, and putting them back on. and looking around him for the next threat.
Mark, do you want to manifest this fear?
Yeah. So we're still thinking in terms of being buried alive, suffocated.
It's up to
Yeah,
you. It could be
please, that's what
drowning.
it feels
You know,
like.
it could
Oh
be
wait!
drowning.
Oh my God! I said the name. I said the name of the move. Don't tell the bakers. So I think that yeah, I mean I think that's still the fear is that I'm sorry, I have to look at your roll again. Yeah, so you succeeded, but the fear
But a
I
new
can't
fear is emerging, right? Is that what it is?
maybe this. You've got the boots out. It's all good. And you feel the ground there must be um some kind of some kind of problem with the ground in this area. Maybe
A
supernaturally
problem, you
related.
think?
And the ground starts to give way, and you scrabble. You have your boots in both your hands. You're
Mhm.
scrabbling against the dirt. The ground gives way beneath you, and you find yourself in water.
Like
Um,
a sinkhole.
and it is deeper. Yes, it is deeper than you can stand in. And I don't know if Zeke knows how to swim, but a new fear has arrived here.
Yeah, I think what happens is, yeah, the ground gives, because he's at the base of the tree, close to the base of the tree, and so there's all these roots, and he falls between the roots, and so he's in the water, but there's all these roots all around him, so he
Yes.
can't easily get out. And every time he tries to swim, it's like his hands and his feet get caught on the roots, that are almost feel like they're grabbing at him.
It was hubris to go back after the boots.
It was hubris.
Just, yes.
Sentimentality and hubris.
So now
So
you
I'm
get to
facing a
roll
danger
your,
now,
yeah,
or no, a
or
fear.
you're facing a fear,
I'm
right?
facing a fear.
So is he rolling 3 dice now?
Yeah. So I guess yeah. When you say where it comes from and when you first experience
Oh,
it, then
yes.
you roll a dread die for each fear. So this is the third. Yeah. So
Yeah,
three
sorry.
fear dice when you get to that.
So, but yeah, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. Where does the fear of drowning come from?
Okay, so that's what I should do first, and then do the dice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Where does the fear of drowning come from? I think he does know how to swim. Um, uh, but there was a time when he was uh, he and his family were at, a lakeside resort kind of thing, and there weren't a lot of people there, but they were swimming in the lake, and his little sister swam out too far, and she was calling for help, and he swam out to get her. And then when he got to her, she was so desperate that she started clutching at him and getting on top of him, and trying to get purchase on him, and the saver became the victim, and he was, swallowing water, and he had this experience of panic, which he ultimately, and out, and but that feeling of arms and legs pushing him down, um, desperately panicked arms and legs, pushing him down into the water, remains with him. And there are some amoebas definitely in the water as well. Of course. Giardia was the next step, yes.
He's not afraid. He's not afraid of those amoebas anymore. That's the least of his worries.
He spat them out.
So now I do a roll
So
of
now you're rolling 3 dice.
3 red
3
ones.
red dice.
3 red ones.
And what am I trying to get?
A 6.
A 6 of some sort.
Yeah.
I did. I got one.
So you're overcoming your fear. You say how?
Nice.
So I think there's this flashback to that scene. There's this sense like the branches and the roots of the tree are trying to like pull him down and push him down, just like the limbs of his sister were that time in the lake. I think rather than flail against them and try to avoid them, he somehow gets the idea that he has to grab roots out of the way or avoid them. And once he grabs one of the roots, he realizes he can pull himself up from a root rather than feel constrained by it. And then he just starts grabbing roots and starts trying to climb out of the water. Again, with the sense that the water is resentful that he has somehow escaped it. And he's coughing, both with the water in his, getting into his mouth and his lungs, but also with the wretched smell of like decomposing plant matter that's in this sinkhole of death. But somehow he climbs out. Gasping, and he's lost his boots now for real. The boots did not make it. Now, what are my options about?
So,
yeah,
I guess you've genuinely overcome that fear, right? So you don't have to make one of those 3 lesser decisions.
Oh, okay.
But of course, we can still say we think Zeke has had enough. We want to let him escape.
But I wonder if it would be interesting. Do I have my okay? I wonder if it'd be interesting if we did one more, Donna. If we played on that first one. I don't know if it's a danger exactly. Maybe this just ends up being a fear. But what if, as Zeke is pulling himself out by these roots, he sees a flashlight playing across the ground near him, and he looks in the direction of the flashlight. And coming up to him, we see Jerry and Yana. And
not zombie Yana.
No, regular Yana. And Jerry says, help me out. Wait, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be speaking for Jerry.
Well,
I guess I am establishing it.
You started that sentence with, we could do something, and then we're now in that scene, right?
We don't have to be.
What do you think, Jose? Do you want to... We can drive Zeke to max power, right? We can see how he gets this.
Or we could just back out.
Well, I'm thinking that we still have a half an hour left. Do we have time for Mark to give it a try?
I don't think I want to because it's bad.
Okay, so that's part of the
equation. We've scared Mark too much.
In reality, I think just with the time constraints and so on, and that's not a problem because I've had a great time doing it this way. I just thought it would be interesting if Jerry and Yana found Zeke, but
can I run with this? Yeah,
please.
I wonder if you see the flashlight, go across you, and it doesn't stop, it doesn't waver. But it stops on the boot in the middle of this dark pool, and they're standing right next to you basically, and they're going, "Shit, what happened to Zeke?"
Guys, I'm right here. I made it. I'm out.
And
I don't think I can get my boots though.
And Zeke says to Yana, "Here, grab that branch. Maybe we can rescue him. Maybe."
No, guys, don't go in there. And Zeke tries to get up and interpose himself between Jerry and the boots and the sinkhole of death.
And Yana is jamming the branch down into the mud, into the hole. And then
Yana, stop. He tries to grab the branch from Yana.
And I think that the branch like gets pulled out of her hand and like disappears into the swamp. And then they gasp, right? You look and the boots start to fill up with liquid, and the liquid starts to fill up into the air, and it looks like you.
oh,
Eek. That's not me. Who the fuck is, what is that?
And this voice that's definitely yours says, "Help me, guys! I'm here." What do you do?
I think he's got the stick in his hand, right? The one that Yana was poking, that he took away from Yana. He's gonna try to like, you know, uh, take a swing at the doppelganger with the stick.
Sounds like you're facing danger.
yeah.
Did I make that worse than you thought, Mark?
Oh, so brilliant. I mean, that's why I come to you. I love it.
All right, so a red one and a blue one, right? A 5 blue.
You avoid the consequences and you say how. I guess we should have got you to say what you were afraid of, but you avoid
Oh, what
those.
was that?
Yeah.
Before I did it. Well, what I'm really afraid of is that they're going to try to get in there and save the false Zeke and die in that hole. Um, uh, Even though I'm mystified that Yana is not a zombie anymore, but glad. Um, but I think he takes a swing at the head of the doppelganger, and I think it explodes like in a burst of water, and the whole thing kind of disincorporates, and then the boots are just there, sinking in the mud.
Do we think this freaks out Jerry and Yana so much that they run?
I mean, he's managed to overcome his fear, or overcome the danger.
Oh, we're in
Yeah.
the danger. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it feels like Jose, I think maybe you can narrate this if you wanted to. Then yeah, they could run out and you could chase after them, or maybe they see you now.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe that's a good ending to it. Is they run off into the dark, and Zeke goes running after them in his socks because he doesn't have boots anymore. And he's going, ow, 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 ow. Wait, you guys. And they all three are swallowed by the night.
That's
Yeah, I think
fantastic.
we can wrap it
Leave it
there.
a little open-ended.
Yeah.
Not really.
Love it.
Because this forest is pretty fucked up.
Yeah, for sure.
Who knew?
Uh,
The
Who
Sylvan
knew?
Wilds. Don't go into the Sylvan Wilds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucked up there. Just in case you didn't get the memo from the Briar Woods.
Let's write that memo one more time. A punchy one. Can't be ignored.
Okay,
caps.
yeah. So I think we can wrap it there.
Sure.
I'll stop the recording and we'll do a quick debrief. And
Sounds good.
we'll see people next week in Silent Falls
In Silent Falls,
because we never learn our lesson.
No.
we just keep going back.
Okay.